I'm delighted to be speaking to Dr. Conor Judge, one of the winners of the Enterprise Ireland Clinical Innovation Awards 2023. Welcome, Dr. Judge, and thank you for taking the time today to tell us a little bit about your experience with the Clinical Innovation Awards. I'll allow you, first of all, to introduce yourself.
My name is Conor Judge. I'm a consultant nephrologist working in Galway University Hospital for half my time, and we're working as a senior lecturer in applied clinical data analytics in the University of Galway for the other half. Prior to medicine, I was an electronic and computer engineer, and my aim was always to bring medicine and engineering together. So looking forward to the conversation.
Great. Thank you. So you were, as I said, one of our winners last year with your innovation. Would you like to tell us just a little bit more about the innovation that you're working on?
Yeah, so the problem that I identified was the inadequate treatment of hypertension or high blood pressure. Um, Hypertension affects 1.3 billion people around the world, and of the people that know they have hypertension, only a third of them have it under control. We have lots of safe and effective treatments for hypertension in medications, but we don't have the systems in place to make sure that the right medication is given to the right patient. So what I wanted to investigate is a solution for helping primary care physicians to prescribe antihypertensive medications.
So Dr. Judge, tell us about the solution that you are working on.
Yeah, so what we are developing is an AI enabled clinical decision support system for hypertension. So this is a neural network that's been trained on a large randomized controlled trial called the SPRINT trial. And what we've trained our model to do is to predict the treatment decision that a sprint investigator would make. So this is the model that we want to be in the hands of the primary care physician, where it connects up to the electronic health record, collects all of the information about their past medical history, the medications they're on, what happened between the last visits, what happened the last time they were started on an ACE inhibitor. Maybe it affected their renal function, and we don't want to select that one again. So this solves the issue of the primary care visits have reduced on average to 7 minutes. And it just isn't enough time for a GP to look through the electronic health record, collect all that information, make a nuanced decision about the hypertension treatment. So really looking forward to developing this more and testing it in the real world.
Great. So the award that you were given from Enterprise Ireland obviously allowed you to look a bit deeper into the market research and to see if your idea will be able to commercialize. What was your experience in applying for that award? How did you find that?
Yeah, so this was my second time to apply to the Clinical Innovator Award. So I had seen the process about 3 years ago, and there's quite an extensive application form that really makes you think about how your solution would solve the problem, but also whether there's actually a market there and a reimbursement pathway to take a solution out of research and bring it to a commercial company, either as licensing a technology or as a spin out. So I got a lot of help from the Health Innovation Hub, and they were really excellent at guiding me through the whole process. Um, for example, there was a section on the market size that I really didn't even know where to start with, and the Health Innovation Hub gave me some examples of previous applications that I was able to learn the template for, and then apply that to my solution. So even in the applying for it and the application phase, you learn a lot from that as well. And I just happened to be lucky to be one of the people that was awarded the prize.
Good. So, what I take it from what you're saying is that you need more than just yourself when you're applying for the award in terms of the knowledge that you don't have to have all the answers at the beginning, and there are people that you can connect with to move your idea forward, and even in the application process to reach out. I'm sure you also connected with maybe the TTO office at the university. They supported part of your journey. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's right. And I also reached out to the Translational Medical Device Lab. So they had a lot of experience applying to Enterprise Ireland with similar applications. So they really assisted me a lot on this as well. So my advice to clinical people who want to apply for this is to make those connections with the technology transfer office and an academic partner, and the Health Innovation Hub can help to set up those connections.
And how did you find your time in balancing work and everything else that you do and applying for this? How did you manage to balance things?
Well, this is, the thing we don't like to talk about. Like a lot of this had to be fit around my current job, which doesn't stop. So I would work on this in the evenings after work, or sometimes on the weekends. So that's one thing I would advise people to pick something that you're passionate about, because you will have to spend extra time on it and time outside your working hours. So the way to make that acceptable is when you have a passion for something. I'm a nephrologist. I also work in the acute medicine unit, and I see that hypertension isn't treated well, and I see that when it is treated well, you can reduce some very serious things like stroke, heart failure, and cardiovascular death. That I felt it was worth it to put in that extra time to complete this application, and now going on to the next stages of it.
So you mentioned the next stages. Can you give us a little insight as to what that might be for you?
Yeah, so now as part of the award, you receive 15,000 euros to do a commercial feasibility assessment. So what we had to do is create a task list. So I worked closely with the technology transfer office on this, and the task list is then sent out to multiple commercialization specialists, and they would send back a quote for working through that task list. So there's things like a report on the market size, a report on the path to reimbursement. I'm talking to key opinion leaders, for example, over in the United States or in the United Kingdom, and then to take all of the information from that to see whether the solution is worth progressing to the next stage, which will be an Enterprise Ireland commercialization fund. So the place I'm at now is we've received all of the quotes back from the commercialization specialists, and we have selected one, and we're meeting them at the end of the month to start working on that 3-month task list, with the final output of that being a commercial feasibility report.
Great. As part of the Clinical Innovation Award, you also had the opportunity to take part in the NHS Clinical Entrepreneur Programme. And would you be able to tell us a little bit about that and how you found that as an experience?
Yeah, so this was an added bonus that I definitely wasn't expecting. So I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to go on that. So this is a program that's been running in the UK for over 10 years, led by Professor Tony Young in NHS England, and they have a year-long fellowship program for innovation, and they have 8 meetings, in person meetings throughout the year, called pit stops. So they would cover multiple parts of starting a startup, like finances, like intellectual property, how to build a team, and technology and solutions. And they also have an incredible network of mentors. So every candidate on it is matched with a mentor that meets them once a month and works through any issues they might be having, and give advice about what the next thing you should be working on. So this was fully funded for me to fly over and stay at the pit stops. So there was one in London, one in Liverpool, one in Leeds, and an incredible extra bonus and opportunity from the Health Innovation Hub Clinical Innovation Award.
Great. So lastly, we were going to ask you what advice you may give someone who is applying for this award. You've already mentioned that make sure that you reach out to, the team and the important people that can help you around you, and clearly to have a passion for what you're doing. Is there anything else you would add to that before we finish?
Yeah, the other thing would be to keep going when things don't work out well. So, I would submit a lot of grant applications. I know only a proportion of them are accepted. So if it was the case you submitted this and it wasn't accepted, don't take it to heart, and submit it again the next year. So that would be the third thing, to just keep going.
Brilliant. Dr. Conor Judge, thank you very much for the time you've given us today.